Hey, welcome. There's a fly sitting on the top of my camera. All right, so today what we're going to do is the quick and dirty version of how to create a histogram, at least the type of histogram needed for this course, in Excel. So Excel does have a histogram option, but it goes much further into depth than anything that we would need. It's still a little overcomplicated, so I wanted to take this opportunity to show you the alternative way to doing a histogram, one that serves perfectly fine for this class. So the data that I have in front of me is from the Create 4 Graphs worksheet from a couple of years back. It is a different data set than what you have, but I'll be going through the exact process that you need in order to complete it correctly. All right, so I have the Word document because that's easiest for me. And the way that I go about this is I make sure that I have Excel available to me in one of my tabs or panes here at the bottom of my computer board or computer monitor. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here and I'm going to click on this table. And I can do this one of two ways. I can click on the little plus sign and notice it turns all the rows and columns gray. I can right click and copy. And then I'm going to come over here and open up my Excel book. And in the upper right, I like to go like second, but anywhere in here is fine. I avoid the topmost corner though, I do. And then once I've clicked on, in my case, B2, I'm going to right click my mouse and copy. Paste. I want paste. There we go. But I've just copied a blank one, so it's not going to work. Back over here, right click, copy. Pull up my Excel, B2, right click, paste. Ha-ha! Got there. All right. Now, I would like Excel to sort this data from smallest to largest. So in order to do that, Excel needs to have it in one full row. This is common in almost any tabled worksheet, including Google Sheets, that in order to sort it from any smallest to largest, or largest to smallest, it needs to have it in a single order. So what I do to do this quickly is I copy these 4 remaining rows underneath the row in B. So I'm going to click on C2 and I'm going to hold down my mouse and pull down through the row. Then right click, copy. Once you see that little traveling ant line, that means it's working. I'm going to go to B12, right click, paste. I'm going to do that same process with each row. D2, hold and pull down, right click, copy. Then to B22, right click, paste. E2, click and hold, pull down, right click, copy. Then to B32, then right click, paste. F2, click and hold down, right click, copy. 42, right click, paste. All right, this put all of my data points. How many data points? In this case, I know it's 50 because the problem told me the ages of 50 attendees. So I know that there are 50 data points here. All 50 are in the same row. Once I have them in the same row, I like to highlight the columns. So that, see how they're green? That means that they're highlighted. The columns themselves are gray. Right click, delete, and that's going to get rid of all 4 of those columns for me. Now I'm going to hover over column B. I can click on it in order so that I don't have to hover anymore, but hover and click on column B. See how the arrow's pointing down? Now it's including the entire column. And then I'm going to make sure I have home underlined here, and I'm going to go to sort. And I'm going to sort from smallest to largest, and this will automatically now sort my data in order from smallest to largest. This makes it easy to do my frequency table. The frequency table itself, which you must demonstrate you have done, is just 2 columns. The first column is those of the class. The class is the units that we're counting. In this case, we are discriminating or segregating or splitting up the attendees by their ages. So the class is based on their ages, and I am putting that in there. And then the second column is the frequency or count. Frequency, trying to spell it right. Okay. Now, I'm going to run into this problem because my numbers are pretty small. That frequency is not in there. See how it's in? We need to get rid of this and put it in that column. Frequency. Okay. So one of the things that sometimes happens with small numbers in your data set is that the Excel program will read them as dates. I don't want that to happen. So I'm going to highlight this column D where my classes are. I'm going to right click and I'm going to format these cells so they come in not as a general number, which lets Excel interpret it any way it wants, but I'm going to put it in as text, so that anything in this column will be interpreted as a text and not as a number. They're not going to give it the numerical value. All right, so I need to fill in my classes in the frequency table. And as a part of this problem, I have told you what the first class of the frequency table will be. I'm always going to do this. I will always give you your first class in your frequency table because in order to determine the first class, there's a lot of math that we're not doing that goes into it. It's a formula that's somewhat complicated and somewhat intuitive. It's like a good mix of both. Like you kind of have to have a good visual of what it's going to look like in the end. So I don't need you to go through all of that for this class. That's a stats course. That's like a full-on stats course. So what we're going to do is we're just going to give you the first class every time. In this case, I know that the first class is going to go from 9 to 14. That 9 to 14, that jump from 9 to 14 is a jump of 5. Every class in this frequency must have that same jump of 5. Okay? So my next class has to start where the last one ended. So my next class will start at 15 and it will jump 5 to 20. The next class starts at 21, jumping 5 to 26. Then I've got 27, jumping 5 to 32. Then I've got 33, jumping 5 to 38. Then I've got 39, jumping 5 to 44. And once we get about 5 or 6 classes in, you start thinking, okay, Amy, how long is this going to go? It has to include all of the data. So while for some data sets, this might be more than enough, we have to go all the way up to 74. So I've got to keep going, keeping in mind that we are going to 74. So I've got 45, jumping 5 to 50, 51, jumping 5 to 56, 57, jumping 5 to 62, 63, jumping 5 to 68, 69, jumping 5 to 74. And since 74 was my highest data point, I don't need another class. I'm done. This is enough classes. All right. So now we need to figure out the frequency or the number in each class. I like to highlight them as I go. So for 9 to 14, there's 2 in that class. That makes it easier for me to count. So I know I've got 2 in that class. 15 to 20 is the next class. I'm going to switch out my color. I've got 4 in that class. Then I've got 21 to 26. There are none in that class. 0 is absolutely fine to have. You won't always have it, but it's absolutely fine to have in your frequency table. Then I've got 27 to 32. How many do I got there? 5. Then I've got 36 to 44. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in that. Then we've got 45 to 50. There's 4 there. All right, then we've got, 51 to 56. Switching out my colors, I've got another, oh, did I get off here? 50 to 32, there's 5. 39 to 44. Oh, I did miss one. Okay, so what did I miss? I missed 33 to 38. That would be these guys. There we go. That's 2. That's 8. That's 4. Yeah, okay. 51 to 56 is 4 again. And then I've got 57 to 62. So that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now we've got 63 to 68. And 63 to 68, I've got 6 again. And then 69 to 74, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We've got 7. Okay, now, if we've done our frequencies correctly, a couple of things should happen. Number one, there should be the same number between each of the firsts. So 9 to 15 is a difference of 6. 15 to 21 is a difference of 6. 21 to 27 is a difference of 6. 27 to 33 is a difference of 6. So each one of those classes should jump by the same beginning number. In this case, 6. That 6 is known as our class width. It's an important number. I know I've mentioned it in the PowerPoints. So that class width would then be 6. The other part is that our frequencies should add up to be the same as the number of data points we had. And since we're looking at the ages of 50 attendees, I know that the sum of the frequencies, 2 plus 4 plus 0 plus 5 plus 2 plus 8 plus 4 plus 4 plus 10 plus 6 plus 7 should add up to be 7. So I'm going to put an equals here, and I'm going to use the sum function. And then I'm going to highlight all of those guys. And I got 52. Uh-oh. Does that mean I have 2 extra data points? Let's check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, I know what happened. Right? I bet. Well, this is where my highlighting comes in handy. 9 to 14 is 2. 15 to 20 is 4. 21 to 26, I didn't have any. 27 to 32 is 5. 33 to 38 is 2. There we go. 39 to 44 should be 6. I fixed that, but not that one. Okay, so I found my mistakes, and I now know my classes and my frequencies. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight both of those columns, just that area that I have. I'm going to insert, and I'm going to insert table here, and I'm just going to click OK because my table does have headers. So now I have created this as a table. You don't have to, but you do need to highlight just this information. Right click, we're going to insert, and I'm going to do insert from up here, and I see all kinds of charts. I'm going to insert just a regular schmegular bar chart. Okay, once I've got a bar chart in here, this is going to give me a regular bar chart. I need to add in the options that are required by the rubric. That includes axis titles. And so that's going to give me my axis titles. I don't need data labels. I don't need error bars. I don't need a legend because this is a histogram and histograms do not have legends. But I now do need to change things. This horizontal axis is my classes, and those classes need to be labeled by their units. In this case, it's ages. My vertical axis needs to be labeled by what it is. It is a frequency or a tally or a count. So frequency, tally, or count. I also need a title for this graph, and this is attendees of the Hello Dolly, whoops, I can't spell, revival. You can put on Broadway if you want. because that's what it was, not Broadway. B-R-O, how do you spell? Broadway. There we go. Okay, so far this is good. The only thing that's missing for this particular histogram is that when we do a histogram in a bar chart type fashion, I cannot have gaps. We go from 14 to 15 directly, so there should not be a gap between them. This is really easy to fix. So I'm going to click off and I'm going to double click on any one of the bars in my bar chart. Any one of them, it'll work. And when you double click on that, you should get this format data series there. And basically what we want to do is we want to take the gap width, and right now it's at 219%. We need it to be at 0. We don't want any gaps. So you can use your down arrow, or you can click on this little bar and just pull it all the way to 0. And once you pull it all the way to 0, do you see how the bars suddenly go and touch each other? This is what we want. We want them reaching out and connecting in order to demonstrate the continuity, that we're going from 14 to 15, that we're going from 20 to 21, that 32 is right before 33. And by having the bars touch, we give a visual indication of that continuity of the ages. And that way we can also really tell when there's a big gap. Because you see we go from 20 to 21 and from 26 to 27, and there's nothing there. And if I'm looking at this, I now know that no one between the ages of 21 and 26 attended the Hello Dolly revival this night. Or at least it wasn't in our data set of 50. All right, so that being done, you can, if you want, I'm going to click on those again. Some people go to the paint can to fill things in and just do a solid line for a border. And basically all that does is put a border around your bars. It's not necessary, but some people like to do it. All right, so for histogram, I have now basically created a bar chart where I have listed both the vertical and the horizontal axes. I have labeled the vertical and the horizontal axes. My title is there. My bars touch each other. We're good. This is a histogram representing the data and the information. I have also placed in here my frequency table. So I have, for my turn-in, the frequency table and the histogram. I'm good. Now, to clean it up, you can at the end go in and delete this if you want. That makes it a nice, clean picture. But yeah, and then here, if you're using Excel spreadsheets, you want to rename this. Come down here to sheet 1, rename, histogram, and frequency table.